A deconstruction of meaning. We begin by looking at the definition of meaning according to ancient philosophers. Essentially, their researches and studies imply that meaning is a relationship between two things, specifically signs and or symbols, and the kinds of things that they mean. Essentially, they highlight that a sign or symbol has a specific meaning that has a relationship to other signs and symbols, which necessarily cause something else to come to mind, often in relation to the original symbol. So based upon their work, the types of meaning will vary in accordance to the types of things that is being represented, namely that there are things in this world which have meaning, both concrete and abstract in nature, that there are things in this world that are essentially signs of other things in the world, and so are always meaningful, such as natural signs of the physical world, and ideas within a mind, and lastly, that things that are always necessarily meaningful, such as words and other nonverbal symbols. Developing further upon the concepts established by the ancient Greek philosophers, we come to logos, ethos, and pathos. Logos frequently translates as a variation of logic or reasoning, where an argument is used to appeal to the sense of logic in the audience, relying on consistency, a logical argument, and effective supporting evidence and examples. Ethos is frequently translated to be some variation of credibility or trustworthiness, where the speaker or writer's credibility is used to appeal to the audience. Thus, this includes a variety of indirect symbols, namely such as the tone of the message, the speaker's expertise, education, and even their reputation. Lastly, pathos is often translated as some variation of emotional appeal, referring to the speaker or writer's ability to appeal to the emotions of the audience, their sensibilities, and in many cases is considered a core consideration in defining the meaning of something, so their emotional attachment towards it. Moving along from ancient Greek philosophy, we come to modern psychology, looking at three main areas. First is truth conditions, where the truth is often used to mean being in accord with facts or reality or fidelity to some original standard or idea, or in this case, the meaning of something. Intention in a cognitive context, where it is the mental state of the individual that represents a commitment to carrying out an action or actions in the future, with some regard to planning and forethought, often tied to an experience, and thus the meaning of something else again. Lastly, thought and thinking refers to the idea or arrangement of ideas that results from thinking, as in the acts of producing thoughts, or as previously discussed, intentions in a cognitive context, or the process of producing thoughts through experience in relation to truth conditions. Thus, thinking allows humans to make sense of, interpret, and represent the model of the world that we experience, and make predictions about that world, in essence learning from our experiences to derive meanings. Moving on, we look at symbols and the definition of symbolism, where a symbol is defined as something which has a specific meaning in a given context. Of course, we're looking, of course, at symbolic representation, which can and does refer to an object that represents or stands for an idea, belief, action, or material entity, or a symbolic linguistic representation, where a language or sound uttered uses a symbol to represent such information. To deconstruct the definition of meaning, we must first begin by applying a simple framework, which starts with experiences, which we must first, of course, experience. Psychologically, one must be able to ideate and follow a conscious or unconscious thought process and or plan to execute ideas, to have said experience. Once the experience has been had, individuals will apply logos, ethos, and pathos, which thus allows us to define the experience and tie the appropriate symbols to it. As symbols have a specific meaning in a given context to form a construct that is representative of an idea, belief, action, or material entity. This will in turn allow us to derive meaning from that experience. However, what meaning is derived, of course, is dependent entirely upon how logos, ethos, and pathos is applied. Thus, we come to derive the meaning of that experience. Of course, future encounters with a similar experience will allow us to shortcut the process based on that similarity, unless the experience is remarkably different, thus forcing the same cycle to be repeated ad infinitum. That is all. Thank you.